Alrighty, hello everyone, it's Silver Kyle, and I am finally back to reviewing movies. It's been quite some time since I've done this, but I really want to get this thing started off. Oddly enough, nothing 2015 related for January, but I am going to be reviewing some 2014 movies because this weekend I'm going to travel about an hour away from where I live, because movies around my area, it's always just big releases and no small releases, no things that you would see at the Oscars. And there's a lot of small releases that I was really looking forward to in 2014. But either way, about an hour away from me, this weekend I'm going to go see The Imitation Game and Birdman, and maybe a third movie depending on how long I actually want to stay there and watching movies. So we'll see how that goes, but this weekend I'll definitely be checking those two movies out and giving reviews for them. Now, let's start this off with American Sniper, directed by Clint Eastwood. And Clint is an amazing actor. You know, I love Clint Eastwood movies. As a director, for quite some time he was doing a really good job, and anytime that the movie starred him as well, I really dug those movies. He really does a good job when he's the main character. But the last good movie that he directed, in my opinion, was Gran Torino, starring himself. And since then, it's kind of like really been more on the miss side, or just very mediocre movies. And so with American Sniper, I was like, okay, please let this be the return of Clint Eastwood. And you got Bradley Cooper there, and the first trailer, which was kind of just like clip or a scene from this movie, looked really intense. I was like, yes, the return to form for Clint Eastwood. So this movie stars Bradley Cooper playing Chris Kyle, awesome name by the way, which is based on a true story about Chris Kyle, who was a sniper, who's the most deadly sniper. He has the most confirmed kills ever, like 160 kills. That's insane. He's American, goes off to Iraq, and is a SEAL, and just like he's the best sniper ever. And the one thing I will say is that Bradley Cooper nailed this role. When he was, you know, anytime that you're seeing him, it's so different to see him play a character that isn't comedic at all. I like serious Bradley Cooper. I like him when he's comedic as well, more so on the side of like Silver Linings Playbook, where it's not over the top like Hangover. But he has a side that he can play where it's just, you know, serious drama. And I really enjoyed that different take on his acting ability. He also plays a very southern character, and he nailed that perfectly. And when he would be walking around, he really did feel like a SEAL. He had that military vibe. So I really enjoyed his acting in this. It was really superb. I don't know if I would say best actor worthy, but he did a very good job here. And the action scenes in this film are really done well, for the most part. The action, when you see action, it's good. But it's not as intense as that one trailer leads you to believe. Like, that one trailer that they show is intense, and I was expecting the kind of entire movie to be kind of slower paced like that, and more centered around specific scenes that would be kind of like that scene, but just extended. I think I would have enjoyed more of a film like that, instead of, you know, just showing a few big moments that were extended for long periods of times in the movie, like almost like, you know, 24 hours. But obviously they can't do that because they have to kind of show his progression, becoming a SEAL, going out there, going on his different tours. And that's one thing that the movie had a hard time with, the flow for this movie. The beginning kind of shows his character, and it almost seems as if they shot one scene next to the other, and there's no flow in between them. It's almost as if they had, you know, time constraints, so they filmed a lot for the beginning, and they said, no, we have to cut this down to a certain amount of time, so we're going to only show these few scenes. It wasn't clicking. As the movie progressed, it started feeling a little bit more natural, but there was a little bit of, every once in a while I was like, alright, and we'll just go with it. So Bradley Cooper is awesome in this. The action scenes, when they're shot, are really good, but they're not as intense as I would have liked them to have been, like kind of like that one scene that they showed. That scene is intense, but other than that, it's not as intense. Maybe it was just me. Maybe it's not the movie. That could be it too. And every other character that they have in this, every time that he would come back home, I was like, I don't really care. I really did not care for the wife. I understood her character. I understood her role. You know, she needs to show that, you know, there's a part that Bradley Cooper's character is having a really hard time adjusting, but I wish that they would have gone with that a little bit more. I wish that they would have shown a little bit more insight to his character and what his thoughts were. He was very just stone-faced kind of when he was home, and I get that. I can understand that that's kind of the point, but I wish they would have maybe done it in a different direction or done something to make it a little bit more interesting, because he would just come home, nothing really happens. There's no character development other than, you know, there's problems with him, but I want to know more about it. I want to know what he's thinking. Even if he's going to have a hard time, I wanted to see something like that. There's a few times where he does explain that, you know, I'm not messed up, you know, I just wish I could have saved more people. And that's admirable, but I wish I could have seen a little bit more into the psyche of this character's mind. I really wish I could have seen a little bit more there. And the other characters, especially the wife, I just really did not care for. So overall, I wish that there's a few places where they could have gone in different directions. Bradley Cooper is the best part of this movie. He's definitely, you know, what's going to keep you glued to the seat and continue watching. The action scenes, when they are shot, they are done well. I just wish they would have been a little bit more intense. All the other characters and kind of like, you know, just jumping from scene to scene and not really showing a lot more with what they could have gone with his character kind of brings the movie down. So I'm going to give it a 6 out of 10. It's almost a 7, but there's just a little bit too much. I feel that there's so much more potential for what this movie could have been. That's really how I feel. So 6 out of 10 for me. Can't exactly fully recommend it. Unless you're a huge Bradley Cooper fan and you really want to know the story about, you know, Chris Kyle. And if you maybe really like war movies, it's not really a war movie. Like there's action, but it's rarely. If you watch the trailer and you see the intense scene, it's not going to get as intense like that again, in my opinion. So take that as you will. 6 out of 10 for me. Thank you all for watching. You've been bearded in.
Beardage.